following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo! The Pipeman is here, season 19, episode 68, the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman. Oh, this is amazing because we have a great show ahead where we're going to talk about pets and we're going to talk about business. Not necessarily a pet's business, but we are going to talk about it is Pet Cancer Awareness Month. And I think it's interesting that that's right after Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And with so much cancer out there, I think you could use up every month of the year, no problem. And let's talk more about that by bringing the Pipe Nuts on and the Pet Health Guru. Hello, Pipe Nuts. Okay, Swamp Nut.
Yes.
I guess you got the memo.
What memo?
To wear a yellow shirt. I didn't send the memo, but you got it. Hey, Juan, let's change the overlay to the QR code like we did last time, or some, yeah. And so, Juan, you did not read the memo. You're not. We were supposed to all be on Team Yellow to fight against dog cancer, I think. I don't know if that's the color, but I'm picking it now. What do you think, Pet Health Guru? Is there a color for dog cancer like there is for every other cancer?
It should be black. There shouldn't be any color on cancer. It shouldn't be.
Right? Right?
Shouldn't be any.
Exactly.
To be honest with
you. Yes.
I mean, listen, when you make all these pretty colors, it kind of like dilutes the whole message of cancer's not good.
Exactly. I mean, when we look at cancer awareness, we're all aware of it. We just want a cure for it. We want to prevent it. How come we don't have that specific message being thrown out there?
I know, right? I mean, we are in a society of treating things instead of preventing them. And when I say treating, I mean treating symptoms, not the actual problem.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, first off, we hear it all the time that cancer is genetic, and it's not. There's less than 5% of it is ever genetic. 95% of it is environmental. And where's that coming from? We had that nice cold snap last week down here in South Florida with manipulated, man-made, geo-engineered cold spell. And everybody is sick now. And
it was only one day.
Yeah. There is no, in the awareness platform, any awareness that we are poisoning the bodies of every living creature and every living plant on the face of the earth.
So here's a question then. Okay, so on, for wild dogs that are literally wild, not domesticated dogs, wild dogs out in the actual wild.
Right.
Do you have statistics on that and them getting cancer opposed to domesticated dogs going to veterinarians getting cancer?
It's been a phenomenon I can use because up north there's a problem that's developed over the last 2-3 years with even deer. Never had a problem with that. In the wild, nothing. However, all this wildlife is now being subject to all these chemtrails, the spraying for, Zika, mosquitoes, all that other stuff, the geoengineering, the weather modification things. And of course, now their food animals, like from a wolf, are eating deer and rodents that are eating GMO crops because that's all they have available now.
Yeah,
And
that's a problem.
then they add in the pesticides, the glyphosate, the Roundup, that sort of thing that they're spraying. And even I wasn't aware of how extensive the spraying is in our woodlands. They're spraying using Roundup, glyphosate, to get rid of brush and small shrubberies and that sort of thing that are growing over the more open lands for forestry control. And that was half the problem in California because they killed off a lot of the brush but didn't clean it out. And that was just tinder for what happened out there, and they were aware of it. So not only were you getting all the smoke and all the devastation from the fires, but it polluted the air for us and our pets, and all these chemicals accumulate in the body. That's what it basically boils down to.
You know what? That explains why Tinder is such a terrible dating app.
Yes. Has been sprayed.
It's been sprayed and it hasn't been cleared out. We're just leaving the crap there, and that's our dating pool.
That's
I
right.
have a question though for you. When the Pipeman said, how do we know what the animals in the wild have? Like, it's not like they put out a bulletin tack it to a tree and say, hey, if you're living in the wild, can you please come in so we can test you?
Well,
how do we even know these things?
They do a lot of tracking and testing, capturing, killing. They do a lot of that sort of stuff to try to get a baseline. And I mean, we started actually monitoring wolves back in the 1960s.
No, that's wolves and stuff like that. What about just what we consider domesticated animals, like dogs that people have that were either born in the wild, people dumped out there, or this, that, and the other? How do we get the baseline for domesticated animals that live outside of homes?
Outside of homes, that's difficult. That's gonna fall in a range in between, because a lot of these dogs that have been dumped, the reason they're being dumped is because the owners can no longer afford the vet bills that are out of just out of sight right now. I saw in the last decade the veterinary expenses are up 60% in 10 years.
Wow.
Which is,
I picked the wrong business to be in.
Yeah. Well, the thing is it's not, the veterinarians aren't making it. It's the corporations that are.
Well, that's why I said business, because that's true of human health too. Doctors don't make any of the decisions; they're just the hired help.
Yeah, and on the on the veterinary side, Wall Street has been going after gobbling everything up. And investment firms, stuff like that. And of course, the largest employer of veterinarians in the world today is Mars Candy.
Wow.
They bought up all the major chains of veterinary clinics. They bought them all up. They bought up the testing labs. They're heavily involved with the insurance now. It's crazy.
Does that mean they can give now the pets the poisons of their candy that's poisonous to the pets, make them sick, and make more money on the other end from the veterinary?
Yeah, it's vertical marketing. You feed them bad food, then you turn around and you're feeding the pet owners a bad food on top of it. So they're not, now you're trying to do that balancing act with your finances. Now that they got the bad food, now you have to go into the vet's office, which we own, and then we're going to give them the drugs that we dictate. That obviously, these board members all sit on each other's boards. Food companies, chemical companies, pharmaceutical companies, it's a country club. And It's all designed for them to make money, and has nothing to do with health. It has nothing to do with compassion anymore.
It's terrible. And so how does cancer occur in dogs? And, what can we do about it?
Well, first off, we have to realize, like I said, that 95% is environmental. And the thing is what they call cancer cells are actually just defensive cells that the body has naturally. They're designed to eat toxin, poison, and get rid of them. Well, when we start to see tumors forming and things like that, that means that that poison level in that body has out is over the top of what the body can normally handle. And where is that coming from? Well, first off, I tell people you have to start with the entrance of what goes into our body, what we breathe in, what we eat, what we drink. It's through that whole process of digestion and everything else. And of course, then when we get down to the filtering part of it, the liver, the kidneys, lymphatic systems, all of that, it can't handle it because when a body is fighting a toxin, it creates mucus. And the mucus basically can plug up the liver, the kidney, the gallbladder. If it sticks to it, that turns into stones and crystals. That's where those come from. It's the mucus, the poison. And once that ability to get rid of it is gone, now you've got what we call disease. It's, and your only hope is to make sure that we can flush out our system, with clean foods, clean air, clean water, which most of it's beyond our control.
And so let's talk more about a new approach to cancer in dogs.
The best thing, of course, for not only dogs, but for people as well, you start out controlling what you can. So if you can't do very much on the air outside, but inside, there are air purification systems and stuff like that we sell over at my Paleo Pet and online. Clean water, the same way, an ionized good water, alkaline, if your body can handle that. The issue with alkaline water, because cancer can't live in an alkaline environment, is you don't want to eat or drink alkaline water an hour before or an hour after you eat, because it changes the stomach acid. So if it changes it, it's not fully digested when it gets into the digestive tract. And of course, the food should be clean, grass finished, pasture raised wherever possible. Stay away from the ultra processed stuff. Anything that will turn into sugar, which is all fat, turns into sugar, and sugar feeds cancer. The approach that we take, of course, is starting out with that clean food. And then there's a number of herbs and botanicals that will aid in the cleaning out of that body and have anti-tumor, antibacterial, antifungal components in them that will help start cleaning it out of the system. Every time, though, that you take a drug for this, you're putting more poison in. That medical system is totally, totally backwards. We were lied to from day one, right from the late 1800s, when Rockefeller started coming out with patented medicines. And if you look at it, you got a simple one that pet owners have all the time. You've got your dog has a bout of diarrhea. Well, first off, it's not diarrhea. The reason that dog stool is hard is because the food companies add a stool hardening agent, which makes them strain all the time. They sold that to us for easy pickup. And then the dog food companies actually lobbied through the AVMA to have local ordinances about picking up after your dog. Prior to that, it was just into the ground and with no problem. So now we're holding in the bad food, the bad toxins that are already there. And then, of course, if you have that bout of diarrhea, loose stools, whatever, you're running to the vet's office and they want to plug him up. They're keeping the toxin inside the body. Well, you're just pushing those poisons deeper and deeper and deeper. And now we've got pancreatic cancer, we've got lung cancer, we've got kidney cancer, spleen. All the organs now are trying to deal with it, and they can't. Even skin cancer is not caused by the sun. That's the poisons coming out through your skin. And what do? We slap on sunscreen,
which gives you cancer.
I have a question about that. You said the stool hardener. Do they do that to our food as well?
In some companies, yes, absolutely. Why do you think there's so many older people running around with constipation all the time? They're not eating right. The chemicals that they're using are also endocrine disruptors. So the body can't digest it, can't break it down right, and then, of course, can't eliminate it right. And of course, the water is so bad, with most bottled waters, that there's not enough hydration. Most people are dehydrated at some level. Our dogs are even worse because they're being fed this dry kibble crap that's also dehydrating to start with. So, you've got a multitude of different things going on that are on an ongoing basis. However, when we do it clean, there's no cancer. There was no cancer until the early 1800s, basically. I mean, there was a few spots here and there, but even in the 1800s, you figure they were, growing the infrastructure in the country, the railroads and things like that. There were a lot of chemicals and that they were using to kill off plant life and stuff like that. And there was no protective gear. It just what it was. And of course, the nutrition was in these places was generally very, very poor. When your boss is paying for dinner, you can have a McDonald's.
Right. And so, Studio Nut, how are your guppies affected by this?
I think it's mostly the water problem, right? Because what kind of water can you give them? Because you have to do the water changes, right? But what's the best kind of water to give them without chemicals? Because they sell the chemicals that you add to the tap water to make it quote unquote safe for the fish,
Right.
but you're still depending on those chemicals.
The aquatic business is very difficult today. Your best choice, of course, is if you can find good, clean spring water, because the water quality is affected in several ways. One, of course, is the excretion from the fish themselves. Second thing is fish food is ultra processed, so you're feeding them basically McDonald's or the equivalent of kibble.
It's funny you should say that, because when I'm out there paddleboarding and seeing all these fish, I don't see them eating any flakes of anything.
No.
I don't see flakes in the water.
And the funny thing is, when you buy the food for these fish, it literally says on the bottle that that it makes the colors pop more. So whatever color the fish is, it makes the colors brighter. So how do they achieve that?
Yeah,
Chemicals.
They got foods they use to enhance the color. And those, by the way, those same dyes are what they're using on feeding chickens, so that your egg yolks look orange now instead of the pale yellow, because of the Clorox that they run the eggs through to sterilize them.
So they take the color out and then they have to add the color back in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like
to begin with.
It's kind of like when you buy bottled water and it says they added like minerals, which is like, well, water is supposed to come with minerals, but in the process of purifying it, those minerals pretty much die off, and then they add more minerals on top of that.
You know what I love is when you go to Whole Foods, and if you go to the gluten-free section, there's a big sign that says may contain gluten.
Yeah. Well, because when they say gluten, according to the law, and on the Pet Health Cafe, we did a whole thing on labeling laws. But when they say that, the government has basically designated 8-10 different grains as the gluten grains. And that's, so if they say gluten-free, as long as it doesn't contain those, you're fine. But even things like sweet potatoes and potatoes, rice, all that stuff have gluten. It's starch. That's what it is. When all you guys are too young to remember that, but when I was in grammar school, making paste was flour and water. That's glue. So when you eat that white bread, you got glue going into the body that sticks to your gut. And on our dogs, sometimes when we switch a diet to like a raw food diet or a cooked diet, all of a sudden they have bloody diarrhea because the body has to peel that glue off the gut. And of course, it's going to cause abrasions and things like that, which causes his blood.
Nowadays, kids actually do that on their iPad. They don't do real life stuff anymore. No. It's all on the iPad.
Yep. And we know how that can be manipulated.
No doubt. Like,
I mean, just look at how many places that we've been shadow banned and taken down over the years. For telling the truth.
Honesty must not be the best policy. I'm guessing for them.
Yes. But we have to shield them. They can't handle it.
All I keep thinking about is the movie, and they can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that came into my mind too. That was what, Top Gun, or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. A good. Oh, it's same actor.
Yep.
A Few Good Men.
Okay.
A Few Good Men is where that's in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was Jack Nicholson telling Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
They can't handle the truth, and that's kind of ironic considering he is a one of those cult people.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Okay, you're gonna laugh at this. Okay, I'm going through. We moved into new studios, so I'm going through all my books and organizing everything, and I found a book that I did buy way back when, but I wasn't part of the cult because it wasn't really a cult yet. It was just a good self-help book. And I have the book Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
I knew how to say it. So now it's like I didn't put it on the bookshelf though. I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep this one in the drawer. I don't want anybody thinking I'm one of them.
There you go. Exactly.
So that it's so sad that animals have to suffer along with humans because animals don't even have a choice. Humans can be stupid and decide to eat the wrong stuff. Animals can't.
Yeah,
okay.
And we buy into so much of this stuff, the convenience of kibble foods and even some of the canned foods. And it's funny, I was listening to an interview with a board certified veterinary nutritionist that worked for one of the big companies, and she's saying with all this so-called science behind what the ingredients are and the nutrition behind it and all that, she says we actually don't know very much about anything.
Nah.
Just like our doctors during COVID.
The smarter we get, the dumber we get. And to think like animals across the world, their ears spark up when they hear that commercial. Kibbles and bits, gotta get me some kibbles and bits. Now, Jesus Christ, like animals don't care about those kibbles and bits, okay? Like but you know what? God forbid we shouldn't make money off of the bad health of humans and animals. Next, we're gonna do it to everything on Earth. I think that's why we're exploring in space, so we could do it there too.
Yeah.
To the aliens that brought us here.
Yes, exactly.
I heard something. I don't know whether it was talking about Elon Musk and a few others that basically, government is weaponized. Of course, the Justice Department and the IRS and all this, and that they're actually weaponized the drug companies as well. And it's all, population control. Just don't kill you off, but keep you sick enough that we can keep taking all your money every month. In drugs and therapies and that don't work. The only thing that can heal any disease is the body itself. So our approach when we do cancers is let the body get rid of the bad stuff that's creating those abnormal cells, clean them out, detox, and then feed them things that are going to let the body actually work its magic.
Yeah, because cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment, only in an acidic environment. So,
right. And our body is basically alkaline most of the time, although we need to have that balance because we need to have the acidity to break down our food.
Yeah.
I saw a researcher recently put up a paper that thank God for hydrochloric acid because it kills everything. And
including the people I don't like.
But one of the other things too, I got a text this morning on one asking about, and this is was for kids, and talking about their flu season number one. Okay, there is no such thing as flu season all over the world. It's basically that we start the season with Halloween, with all the garbage candy and toxins and everything else that we're putting in our body. And then we go right into Thanksgiving where we're doing all this abnormal stuff as well. The stressors, and then we go immediately into Christmas and Hanukkah, and now we've got more problems, and now everybody's sick.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say something actually, because next week when we have you on, we're going to talk about the holidays and holiday food and everything having to do with animals. But I've been saying that for years. The flu season is not because of cold weather. By the way, I'll tell you why it's not because of cold weather. For the same reason that people go to prison and they put it on freezing in there, because germs don't spread in cold weather. They spread in hot weather, okay? Bacteria, all that stuff survives. Otherwise, you wouldn't use a refrigerator or a freezer. By the way, people, just a little common sense. The flu season is because we put so much over stuffing, no pun intended, of our body through, like you said, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. It's just a few months of just constant poison being put into our bodies. I mean, I was in the grocery store the other day and I saw popcorn that is stuffing flavored popcorn. Like, we are getting so ridiculous with food. Like, there is no like uniqueness. Like, M&Ms used to be just M&Ms. Now every company has a form of M&M, and every company has a form of a Milky Way and all this. And it's all just a bunch of mad science. So you guys got to tune in next week to the beginning of the show for on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so we can talk about the holidays and how you can prepare for your pets so they're not sick or getting sick on your carpet or anything else. And it's going to be a not miss. And then, so stay tuned a little bit here because we're also bringing on Michael Barbarita of Next Step CFO and his powerful business strategies. And we're going to talk a cash collection strategy that has a 40% success rate for those difficult collection situations and system of collecting that will improve your cash flow dramatically for your business. So maybe you're a pet person now, but you probably have a business too, or whoever's listening. Stay tuned for the rest of it. But meanwhile, give us some final words, Pet Health Guru.
All this stuff can be prevented, but we have to learn how to read ingredients. If you cannot pronounce it, don't take it. And if you're curious, you can actually track a lot of this stuff down, with Google and search engines and that sort of thing. Look at the side effects. They're not side effects. They're actually the effects. They just hide them from you because it did one little thing and kind of masked that symptom. On the backside of it, of course, they can reach me at my Paleo Pet, BioComplete Natural Diets, on the Pet Health Cafe, obviously, every week. The YouTubes are up there 24/7. Use them. They're resources. And, I get some dynamic guests on there that are experts in the field. But again, when you look at the doctors and that sort of thing through the pandemic, the networks did not talk to the people that knew what they were doing. They were running a narrative. And, as long as we keep following that, it's going to be a problem. And my Paleo Pet is located in Pompano Beach, Florida. And there's a number there, 954-971-2500. And it's on the scroll, so you can reach us. And my crew, my team is ready to help you.
And you will indeed help. Like, I'm living proof that you would help. Well, not me, because that would be a bad testimonial if it were me. But April for sure. And then Rebel, again, not about Rebel, be a bad testimonial, but her pets What has the pet health guru done for you, Rebel?
He has done wonders. He has enlightened me about things that I needed to know, the things that you don't even think you need to know. There's so much to learn from the pet health guru.
And then Studio Nut, how have your guppies been since knowing the pet health guru?
They've been thriving. I mean, I'm gonna have to come up with some type of population control soon. Those things
Good.
breed like crazy.
All you gotta do is
That's a sign that they are
contact your
healthy.
local government, and you'll be able to find out everything you need to know.
I had a customer call me yesterday, and she was complaining. She got a bunch of dogs, and all the females are in heat, but these dogs are all like 10, 12 years old. And I said, she said, "This is driving me crazy." I said, "Be thankful. They're healthy enough to do that." In our human population, fertility is down how much? 70%, 60%? And it's all because of chemicals. And just another note on the Pet Health Cafe, we don't limit it to just pets. We talk a lot about just overall health, diet, clean foods, all of that sort of stuff for the pet parents as well. Because if you're a pet parent and you're sick and can't handle things, and in fact, that was our show last week, we were talking about the emotional part, how we spread our energy to those animals. And they
totally.
spread it back to us. They tell us what's going on, but we don't listen.
Well, not only that, but think about it. Okay, if you're not eating right, you're no good to your animal if you're not healthy. But also, if you're feeding them table scraps, you're giving them the same poison you're taking in. So if you eat healthy, your table scraps will be healthy too.
Exactly.
Thanks again, Pet Health Guru. Always love having you on here after 18 years. You are a wealth of information, way more than Rebel. And next week, you have to wear the yellow shirt, and we'll all not wear the yellow shirt. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so for those of you who like to go to festivals, we are giving free ticket giveaways to the 2026 festival season is already starting. It's not even 2026 yet, but we're doing giveaways to Sonic Temple, which is one of the biggest rock festivals in the whole United States, maybe even the whole world. Juan, let's find out a little more about that.
The Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
Sonic Temple. Check me out on Pipeman Radio. DM me if you want to be entered to win tickets to 2026 version of Sonic Temple. It is badass with a badass lineup. And again, everybody make sure next week we're going to have more about the Pet Health Guru. So make sure you stay tuned today and then tune in next week on Monday, 1 p.m. to Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman right here on W4CY Radio. Now, let's go to Chapter 2 with Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, you're listening to Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and this is the Positively Pipeman segment where we have our resident expert on powerful business strategies. And he represents an amazing company that you have to check out called Next Step CFO. So welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita.
Thank you for having me again, Dean. So this week, I want to talk about something that has happened about 3 or 4 times, and sometimes just comes in rushes, where people are having trouble collecting their receivables. Now, if you want to be good at collecting receivables, which should be every company you could think of, if you want to be good at collecting receivables, you really have to have an accounts receivable policy that's done consistently. You can't take a vacation from it. You've got to stay right on it. And I'm going to give you an example of an accounts receivable policy that has worked very well for my clients once they establish it and actually put it finally implement it and execute it. So first of all, somebody, and it might be the business owner, I prefer it not to be, more like a bookkeeper, they need to review accounts receivable once a week to determine if there are any past due accounts. Now, if you have terms and people are paying within terms, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those past due on the accounts receivable report that start to fade to the right on the accounts receivable report, meaning they're over 30 days or anywhere between 1 and 30 days past due, over 30 days, over 90 days. So once an account gets past due, anywhere between 3 and 7 days, you need to call them. So you need to make a policy to call those customers and see what if there's a problem, or just make a courtesy call and reminding them that their account is past due. And by the way, every month for any past due, even if it's on time, every month you should be sending statements to your customers with the balance, with the open balance. So that should be happening in the background. And so the clients get a call, you leave a message if they're not there. You don't get a return call 3 days later. You make a second call. And then if they don't pay after the second call, or they don't return your call, what I recommend clients do is what's called a 10-day demand letter. And what I'm going to do is I know for the people who are on the road listening, I'm going to give it a shot here and share my screen and show people a specific, and I'm going to walk you through this 10-day demand letter. So what it is, if you went to a collection agency right away, this is the first thing they would do. So what I'm doing is I'm circumventing going to a collection agency and having you prepare it. It's called a 10-day demand letter. And what it is, it's a letter that has your company letterhead, the date, and then 10-day demand in big, bold, higher level font letters. And then attention to whoever is the customer. And then you list out the invoices that are past due one by one, plus make sure you put an interest line item in there at 1.5% a month, because sometimes they will pay the interest. Then you put down the total due and you write, this will be turned over to collection attorneys if payment is not received by 10 days after the date of the letter. And you could put actually the date on there. And if you accept credit cards, you put that you accept credit cards, and then you write thank you and address it with your typical whatever you are. Maybe you're the president of the company, or maybe the CFO, or whoever is doing it, the bookkeeper. It doesn't matter who's ever doing it. And you must send this letter out, return receipt requested, because that gets their attention. Now, people are going to say, "Oh, I don't want to give that to a good customer." The point is they're not a good customer if they don't pay.
And if you let it go once, they're going to do it all the time. I've experienced that myself. Like anybody that's ever owed me money, whenever you're nice to them, they don't pay you.
That's right. And so all I'm saying is that they owe the money. Let's tell them that they need to collect it. Otherwise, they're going to go to a collection agency. Now, after 10 days, if you make one last courtesy call, and then if they don't respond to that call, then you take it to the collection attorney. And the reason is, it's very simple. And I've done it. I do it all the time. And I have I have threatened to repossess vehicles of companies. I've actually repossessed a vehicle, although they paid as soon as the sheriff comes to take the vehicle. That's it. The ball game's over. We're getting a check. See, the problem is that companies that are experiencing accounts receivable problem isn't because the customer doesn't have the money. They're just deciding to pay somebody else. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So all this does, especially you have to send it certified. It reminds them to send the letter. Now, 40% of the time, in my history and in my experience, 40% of the time they'll pay off of that letter. 20% of the time they'll pay it with the interest. You can force the interest if you want. You don't have to. And make sure all your invoices say that 1.5% interest is due on a late payment. That's very important to put that in there. But even if you didn't, still put the interest in there on the demand letter. So so 40% of the time you're getting paid faster, and you're getting paid sometimes a little more because of the interest. But and then if they don't pay, then they're probably going to be deadbeats if they don't pay. Yeah. And that's when you put the collection agency on them. And you make sure you have a collection agent who is also will go to small claims court for you and all that. They take a third, and that's why I do the demand letter, because it circumvents that. But it works extremely well. And it gets
2/3 is better than nothing, because that's what you'll end up with is nothing, you know? Right. So, and that's another thing I think that's important to focus on, because when people are like, well, I'm not going to use a collection agency because then I won't get all the money. Well, you're not going to get any of the money otherwise. And they think these people are going to pay them. I've had people that literally tell me that they didn't get paid, so they can't pay me. I'm like, yeah, you're getting paid by your client, and your business has no bearing on whether you pay me.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
You can't say that to FPL, which is the electric company here in Florida. You can't say that to your, your car payment, your mortgage payment. They don't care who doesn't pay you. It's your obligation to pay them no matter what.
And that's the point. They're paying. There's nobody who has zero in the company bank account today. They always have something, and they're paying something.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, the reason why your account is past due, or your client or customer is past due, is because they're paying something else, and they're not giving you the priority. And this demand letter puts you up above anybody else they were thinking of paying before they paid you.
Yeah,
it simply does, and that's why it works so well. But there are clients, 60% of the time there are going to be deadbeats anyway that you have to take to collection, and you let the attorney handle it. It's in their hands from then on. And then sometimes people pay when they get the collection letters from the attorneys, but the attorney has to be both a bill collector and go to claims, preferably an attorney. A collection attorney.
Yeah,
that's the best one to get. You'll pay a third, but you'll at least get paid, and then you don't do business with that customer again. Because I see people doing that as well. After somebody doesn't pay them, they go back to the well and do business with them again, and the same thing happens. So
the people hold a carrot out is what happens. I can't tell you how many things people have done to me in my career with a carrot. I don't buy into it, but they always think they're pulling it over on you. Like they'll put something. Oh, I have a referral that's going to be coming for you, and he's big money. Blah 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 blah.
Right, that's right.
So, but I can't pay you my payments. But I'm sending you this as something that'll help out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, pay your bill.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what it comes down to. And so I bring this up because a lot of business owners lately with me that they're saying that they have trouble collecting, and this is what I've been suggesting, and they work and they obviously get paid. They say, yeah, they paid me. Okay, good.
There it is.
And you didn't go to a collection agent when you send the 10-day demand. You've circumvented the process. You've given yourself priority. You've given yourself priority for future invoices too, by the way, because they know the process.
Totally.
And by the way, here's one other important point. If you're too afraid to do that, what I'm suggesting is you go ahead and you do it. And then if somebody says, hey, why'd you do that to me? Or, somebody who's maybe been a customer a long time, you say, oh, you know what? It's just a bookkeeping thing. This is just our process. And it somehow went through the cracks that your particular certified mail went out. That's all you say. And it's over.
Exactly.
And it's over. It's a bookkeeping procedure. That's all you say. And by the way, it is.
Totally. How do they get more information from you about this and many other powerful business strategies?
So what I like doing, Dean, is book interviews. This is where, because business is constantly changing, I like to keep my book updated with fresh new material. And so I get that fresh new material from business owners. And the way a book interview works is it's 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies from my book, and then I ask the business owner if the strategy that they were just presented, what the impact would be for a business that would implement it in their industry, and then I document it for the book. But the beautiful thing about it is they get to learn business strategies their competition isn't doing. And so to get a book interview, you go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form in the message section, put the words book interview, and then I'll send you a calendar link so you can schedule the book interview and we go from there.
Beautiful. Well, once again, a great week of powerful business strategies from you, Michael Barbarita. And thank you for all you do for businesses to help them out. And everybody, I implore you to reach out to Michael, because even if you're successful, he can help you with strategies that'll make you more successful. And tune in next week, because we will have some more powerful business strategies with Michael Barbarita. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.